How are you?
Oh, I'm fine.
And I'm doing great too. Uh, this is attorney Pelia Polo. I'm glad to meet you. So I'm going to start this interview with the first question.
Oh, sure.
So first question is, what made you? Why were you interested in studying about law?
That is a very good question. But actually, I had only one reason why I should want to take law, and that is I am not very good in math. So I was looking for a course which will not be very difficult for me as far as math is concerned.
Like no, a course with no math involved.
Yes, precisely. But when I was in high school, my reason to become a lawyer became more interesting because my principal then and director of my own high school, where I finished my high school, was a very unusual person. And from him, I learned and I discovered how it is very important to be able to have a course which there is a title attached in your name. Do you know what I mean?
Attorney.
For example, if you are a doctor, if you are a physician, before your name there is a prefix, doctor. And when you are a lawyer, before your name there will be an attorney. So I became very interested. And one thing more, that principal of ours, the late Mr. Ramon Louis Vivar, he would usually post the names of successful board examinees and probably bar examinees also. So I was amazed, and I wanted that one of these days my name will be posted also in the bulletin board. That was the second reason. And when I was in college, although I was already taking up pre-law, AB Political Science, I was challenged because according to some people, it is very hard to pass the bar.
Yeah.
So, finally, I made it my goal to become a lawyer. And finally, the fourth reason, while I was in college, we had a problem when my father, the late Second Lieutenant Loreto Por, was abused by one of the goons in our city. That was the fourth reason that made me realize that I must be a lawyer.
So those are the different reasons why
Yes,
you were
yes.
interested in law. And when you were studying for law, what are the schools you went to? Describe them. Were you happy with them, the schools?
It was in 1974 when I finally enrolled in the Aquinas University College of Law. Although it was in 1972 when I finished my AB qualified, but because of financial problems, I had to quit for several years. But Aquinas University is now UST Legazpi.
That's in Bicol, right? The Aquinas University.
Yes.
So, when you took the bar exam, was it complicated? How did you find it?
It is always complicated. Because you see, the bar examinations is not the same as the board exams ordinarily. Because it is taken in 1 month for 4 Sundays, morning and afternoon. So in the morning, you have to take one subject for 4 hours from 8 to 12. And in the afternoon, another bar subject from 1 to 5. It is very complicated.
So,
Because first, you have to study several boxes of books only to find 10 questions during the bar exams. So it is very complicated. You do not know what questions will be asked, what topic will be asked.
those textbooks you used? Did you need to pay? Were they very expensive, the textbooks you used?
I, you see, we did not have much money to buy books, law books.
They're very expensive.
So I am so, probably I am so, I am so lucky. I am so fortunate enough. And that is, I am so grateful to my late father. Because of my late father, I finished my law, I finished my AP as a scholar. But although, because of the economic situations then, still it was very difficult for me to finish my education even as a scholar. So, while I was in the College of Law, I had to work to support me, not only my finances, but also to help also my family. So I had to teach from 8 to 5, and in the evening, I went to the College of Law.
Very tiring. And then since you passed the bar, right? If I'm correct, what were your plans after passing the exam?
You see, it was in April or March
You passed
1979.
You passed
It was in March 1979 when I passed the bar. And it was in November 1978 when we took the bar exams. So that would mean my first goal, my first challenge was already being proven. I took the bar only once.
It's very rare. It's very hard. So you all know all professions have strengths and weaknesses. As a lawyer, what were one of your strengths and weaknesses you can handle?
As a lawyer, I am very frank, very honest. And I think that is my strength. But if you will ask me as my weakness, I always take cases very personally. So it would be a disadvantage on my part because I am a very die-hard person. And you see, during the first case that I handled, it was a land case. Early in the morning, I still have to wake up to change my brief. That is the question and answer prepared by lawyers for their witnesses, for their clients. Because whenever some thoughts come to my mind, even if I'm already in bed, I will wake up and change my brief. That is how die-hard I am. And I took things very personally that sometimes myself I could not sleep. That is very disadvantageous on my part.
You are sleep deprived most of the time.
Yes.
So based on your answers, I found out that it's hard to study for the law and very hard to prepare for being a lawyer. So would you recommend people to be one?
Yes. And in fact, I want all people to become lawyers.
Why?
So that nobody will dare to bully. Remember, people who are lawyers are brave enough because they know the law. And remember, those people who are not lawyers, they would depend only to lawyers. What happened if they found cases? But if that everybody is lawyers, there will be peace because they will not fight. because everybody knows all this strength. Sometimes these lawyers, people will think, oh, the lawyers, blaming the lawyers. But you know, lawyers are the friends of people. When you have problems, once your problem is in the hand of a lawyer, you have peace of mind already. Because it is the lawyer who will try to solve your problem. But because misconceptions nowadays, they believe lawyers sometimes cannot help, but can just prolong the case. But to tell you the truth, without lawyers, there will be chaos. So lawyers are friends of the people.
Lawyers are very important.
Very important.
So, for the poor people, what are their chances of finding the right lawyer for them? If they have problems, how do they find one when they don't have enough money?
It is not a problem. These less privileged people, they have their chances, their opportunities to find good lawyers, because that is one of the functions of the government, providing free legal aid to less privileged people. We have this free legal service coming from the Public Attorney's Office under the Department of Justice. It is a very good advantage nowadays to poor people, to less privileged people, not to lose hope. Because no matter how poor they are, they will have justice render and attain, because the government will help them find good lawyers through the Public Attorney's Office. No fees, no obligation. It is for free.
Free, so they don't have any problems in finding a lawyer.
No problems.
So, for all those law students out there, what are your tips you can give them? Based on experience, since you experience being a law student.
Okay, that is a very good question. As a law student before, although my motivation, I have several reasons why I wanted to become as a lawyer. When I studied law, I was not probably so serious enough. Meaning, I should have studied so seriously enough, because when we took the bar, I was very much surprised when, although I knew my answers were right, and I know my citations, the jurisprudence that I made were right, still I was surprised why I got only very, very low scores. So now I finally realized, for law students, when you study law, study as if the tomorrow is already your bar exams. Do not study with the knowledge that anyway there is still a review. What I want to say is that when you took law, when you are in the College of Law, treat your studies in your College of Law as if tomorrow or 1 or 2 days after it is already a bar exams, so that you have not you do not only memorize, but you understand and you memorize. And finally, it takes an analytical mind to be able to study law. Once you are an analytical minded person, you are sure of passing the bar, because answering questions in the bar exams is mostly analysis, analyzing all the problems, and then finally applying the correct law. That is one thing I could give to law students.
So I guess like study like there's no tomorrow.
No tomorrow,
No
as
tomorrow.
if The examinations is just around the corner.
So, since you have a son who is a law student, you
Oh
would
yes,
like
oh yes, oh yes. I have my, I have my son and the college of law, and he is now, probably, if I'm not mistaken, a regular third year.
a regular 30-year-old. He's far already in the law. He's
Yes.
almost becoming a lawyer.
Almost, not yet, almost finishing the law, not yet, almost becoming a lawyer.
Being a lawyer, being a past lawyer, what are the advantages of being a lawyer, especially for your family and personally?
Having a lawyer and a family may not be may not be a financial guarantee, but having a lawyer and a family, that family could have peace of mind. That family, knowing the laws, the ins and outs, they are sure that people will respect them the way they respect. They will, knowing the laws, they will find and always be very strict, not to be in trouble. Knowing the laws very well, you will be able to help not only those clients who will come to you, but your neighbors, your friends, by merely of advices. And being a lawyer, personally, even up to now, I still have that memories when I first heard that I passed the bar, as if I was there in cloud nine because of the success. It is so difficult. It is so different when finally you heard that you passed the bar. Because remember, passing the bar, making it to the College of Law, especially taking the bar, is an ordeal. That when you finally pass the bar, you will never forget, but only reminisce the difficulties, the sacrifices that you made. And the fruit, the dignity, being addressed as an attorney. That is the best. That is the best that you could get from being a lawyer.
A lawyer's a pretty big job to
That
handle.
is the dignity attached to your personality.
Like putting a suffix before your name.
Yes.
Very makes you well known.
Yes, precisely, because you see, when I was in the elementary, I only wanted to become a teacher because I idolized my teacher, especially my teacher in English. But you see, when you grow up, as you grow along,
Your goals can change.
yes,
Maturity.
yes,
Strikes.
when you become mature, you will realize that your dreams also change. Your goal in life also changes.
Your goals become mature because if your goal to be a goal to become a teacher, it's like
But then,
what kid goals are.
but then, I am not frustrated as a teacher because I went to College of Law, renouncing myself as a teacher in the high school at St. Benedict's Academy in Ginobata, London. I was then the advisor of the third year class. And although you do not ask after my bar exam, without my knowing it, I was just called by my good friend that we already have a teaching load at the Aquinas University because we were given teaching load after our bar exams. So, I teach handling law subjects until 1981 at the Aquinas University. I'm not frustrated as a teacher.
You know that it helped you.
Yes. And in fact, because being a teacher, it was able to help me finance my law school. No matter how difficult it was able to help me become a lawyer. Because being a scholar then, without the finances, only the tuition fees were then answered with my scholarship. I had to find another job to help me finance my
So-
daily sustenance.
So in summary, you love being a lawyer, but in order to be one, you must pass through all the challenges.
Sure.
You need to thrive for your goals.
All the way to the College of Law, especially finally to the bar, are all challenges.
Bar, it's very hard to get a high score in bar exams. It's rare. Is it rare for people to get a high score?
It is very difficult because you see, unlike in the College of Law, you know who will be correcting your test papers, but in the bar exams, you do not know who will be checking your booklets, your examination booklets. You do not know what were their basis in correcting your test booklets. And sometimes, according to them, there was a joke during our law days, that 50% of your penmanship,
Count? They count in the
yes,
scores.
counts, yes. Your penmanship is already 50%. So if you have a very beautiful, legible penmanship, you already have 50% in your scores. And the substance of your answer is another 50%. So you see, during my law days, it is true that our dean in the College of Law, he would advise the students with a very poor penmanship to improve their penmanship.
So having a good penmanship is a huge
Is an-
advantage.
Yes, very much. It is already.
50%.
Yes, very much.
Plus your correct answers
Yes.
makes it a lot. It's a huge advantage, 50%.
It is already an advantage because they believe that these checkers of the bar booklets, they would say that whenever they found that the penmanship could not be read, they just crossed. I don't know. Probably it happened. So if you plan to take law, see to it that you already have 50% advantage by way of your penmanship. What is your penmanship? How can you tell about your penmanship? Is it readable, legible?
My penmanship, it's two different styles since I prefer cursive better than the ordinary writing because it's more readable because my penmanship and this kind of writing it doesn't really suit me, so I like using cursive better because it shows my better handwriting, penmanship.
Well, it is allowed now in the bar exams, but with that penmanship, it is now a question of your speed in writing. Because the faster you write, it would be more advantageous in your part. Because in the bar exams, it is time pressure. You will be under time pressure. You only have 4 hours to answer questions.
That's a huge pressure to undergo. So thank you for your opportunity to be able to
Oh, the
have
pleasure
this
is mine.
interview.
Anytime.
I had a great time in this interview. All the things you said to me, I think those can help other law students, other people.
Well, thank you so much, and probably if you have a client that you could bring to me, I shall appreciate that, huh? I will hope it, huh? Miss Reina, huh?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much.